Hi, my name is Luke Rees and I'm a 23-year-old multi-award winning motivational speaker from Wales in the United Kingdom. I'm so thankful for the incredible opportunity to share my story with you today, a little bit about the experiences I've been through, but most importantly, what I'm doing now. I truly believe that we all have stories to tell, both good and bad. None of our lives are completely perfect, and I really do believe that a lot of our lives are like a book. We all have those good and we all have those bad chapters that we want just to rip out and forget they ever happened to us. But I really believe that what happens to us is a real message and an opportunity for us to change our lives for the better. If you've ever had a bad experience, it's always a setback for a great comeback. I always say, every setback in life is a platform for a comeback. And for me, no matter how many setbacks I've had in my life, it's always been an opportunity to get better and to help more people. I truly believe that if I have an experience or I've been through something, then if I can share that experience with someone and make someone else feel a little bit normal or a little bit better, that they're going through it as well, then if we can normalise that conversation, then it's going to help so many other people and not just help me by sharing my story with people too. But I want to share with you a story today where growing up as a young person, I lacked one major thing, and that was belief in myself. I never really knew what believing in myself meant, and I never really had anyone else to believe in me. I remember all my teachers growing up in school told me that I'd never achieve anything in life, I was never good enough, and I may as well just quit. And basically that I had no future was the words that they wrote in one of my end of year reports. And I fell into a real guilty trap of believing that. I thought I could never achieve anything in my life, so why am I still here? Why am I still trying when nobody believes in me? But I realised the real secret isn't about people believing in you, it's about you believing in yourself. And it's about you being you as well. No matter what that is or how that looks, it's all about, as long as you can embrace who you are and the power of what you are as a person, that's the most important aspect, because that's the magic. There is only one you, and there only ever will be one you. And that's the beauty of it. And the minute you discover that power inside of you, suddenly you start living your life to really its full potential. But to me, I never really believed in myself growing up. And despite people telling me that I would never achieve anything in life, that led to me having a lot of mental health problems. I thought no one ever believed in me. I thought no one liked or loved me. And I got to a point in my life where I couldn't keep on going the way I was. I found myself dropping out of school, never attending any social events, and I really fell into a deep trap of mental health problems, in particularly anxiety and depression. It got to a point in my life where I realised I couldn't keep on going like I was anymore. I didn't have the sheer confidence to leave the surroundings of my own bedroom, never mind to leave my house or to go to school or socialise with any friends. It got to a point in life where I knew that I was always one decision away from a totally different life. I just didn't know what that decision was going to be. And after years of searching, after years of trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel, eventually that light began to fade and I couldn't keep on going the way I was. I was putting myself through so much pain and torture through my mental health problems that I had to end it. I had to get a way out. Now, for many people, when it comes to suffering with mental health problems, the way out is by talking, by doing all these things to help yourself. But for me, I couldn't do that because I thought no one believed in me. So how could I ever talk about how I was really feeling? So I made the decision one night. It was November, a cold, wet day, like it always seems to be in Wales. And I came home one night from school and I thought, enough's enough. I'm one decision away from a totally different life. And after searching for years what that one decision was going to be, I finally found it. So I came home that day, I took out a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper I wrote 2 words. And those 2 words were, I'm sorry. For me, this was, after years of searching for my way out, a way of ending this pain that I was going through internally, I'd finally found it. And that was going to be to end my own life. I turned my piece of paper over and I remember writing a letter to my parents and family apologising for what I'd been through and what I was about to do that night. And I thought, right, my challenge tonight is to do something today that your future self will thank you for. And I really thought in that moment that was going to be to end my own life. I left the house that evening with full anticipation of finding a way out. But one thing I've realised, and my biggest learning in that darkest times, is that during our darkest moments, we find our true strength. That strength you've perhaps never realised before. And for me, it's the reality now looking back at it, is that I've already survived my darkest day, or my toughest day. And that provides me so much reassurance because I was able to find peace in the storm. I managed to get through that night relatively untouched because of my parents. My parents found me just before I was about to end my own life and come up to me and pretty much saved me before I was about to do something that I probably would have regretted looking back now. And the fact is that those small moments made a huge difference in my life, and if it wasn't for them, then I certainly wouldn't be here right now. But I realised in that moment that once my parents helped me, it was a case of that I never needed anyone to believe in me. I just had to believe in myself. And the minute, in that exact moment, my mindset changed, my entire future, my entire outlook changed. I thought, right, let's stop worrying about people's opinions, what people think of me, what people say, because all what matters is what I say and what I do, because that's all anyone can react to and that's all anyone can do. As long as you know that you are doing your best with the moments that you have, then that is all anyone can ask. So I made a decision, and in that moment I was going to get better. I was going to get myself back on track mentally, physically, and I was going to find myself in amongst that storm that I was going through. Slowly and steadily I managed to get myself back on track, and my life started to get back together, more importantly. Unfortunately left school with not the best qualifications, with very little qualifications and no hope and no aspirations, but I had massive dreams, and I never let my current circumstances in life be my conclusion. If anything, I used those people who ever doubted me or what I could achieve as motivation to prove them wrong anyway. For me to go back and in a few years' time and say to them, you never believed in me, but look at me now. And I really use that as motivation. And if it wasn't for that, then I wasn't able to take that next step. But the real thing that helped me get my life back on track was talking about how I was really feeling. And not necessarily telling everyone everything in all one period of time. It was about letting people know slowly and gradually, and soon I was able to build my confidence, this self-confidence, this fire in my belly that we all have inside of us. We sometimes just need to find it and learn how to ignite it. Since that day, I've been sharing my story ever since. Over the last 8 years, I've been very fortunate to travel the world as a motivational speaker, sharing my story about how I was able to believe in myself to unlock my own potential. Over the recent year, I've inspired over 100,000 people right across the UK and Europe to believe in themselves. And there's nothing more reassuring than me being able to go back and speak to especially young people, because myself being 23, I've got a very special power to connect with the youth in a way that only they can understand. And I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity now that every time I open my mouth, I have an opportunity to change someone's life. And I'm so thankful and grateful for that. In recent years, I've gone on to graduate university. I left school with very little qualifications to now holding a first-class honours degree at a high-class university here in the UK. And that was because I believed in myself. And the fact is, so can you. You can believe in yourself too. But most importantly, if you're going through something, be okay to talk about things. We're not always going to have good days. We're always going to have those feelings where we feel like giving up. But during those moments, I need you to find your inner strength. The fact is, I thought as a young person, especially being a 6'3" stereotypical rugby player here in Wales, was that I thought that I was too big to talk about my emotions. I thought men don't have those mental health feelings. Men don't feel sad. Men shouldn't feel depressed. We're meant to put this smile on our face, wear this mask all the time, and pretend everything was okay when in reality it wasn't. What I found was that being able to talk about mental health problems wasn't a weakness, it was actually a strength. And all of us can find that strength inside of us. Because it's not about who we're trying to be or who we perceive. Sometimes we need to take that mask off. That mask, that hidden filter where we pretend that we're happy and we're living our best lives, and sometimes we're not, and that's perfectly fine. But your true inner strength comes from being able to share that. I truly believe that being vulnerable is the greatest skill set that anyone can have, because nobody's perfect. We all have our flaws. We all have those days where we feel like, why am I here? And that's a question I ask myself. A lot of us and a lot of people I know, including myself, I suffered with anxiety and my anxiety came from the fears that I had. I was so fearful that things was going to happen to me in life that all of a sudden that built up that anxiety that stopped me from doing anything in the first place. But the fact is, fear and anxiety of fear of happening things in the future is usually just made up based on your stories and the beliefs and what you tell yourself. One of my favourite quotes is, those people who tell themselves they can and those people who tell themselves they can't are both usually right. So tell yourself you can. Speak positively about yourself, because how you speak to yourself matters. the more positive language you use. I always tell all my guests in all my talks 3 things, the most important things you can say to yourself. I can, I will, and I must. I can, I will, and I must. Suddenly it builds that positivity and that momentum for you to go and take action. And it's something that I use today on a daily basis. If I'm ever nervous or anxious or fearful of something, I get up, I do it anyway, and I tell myself, I can, I will, I must. And it makes a massive difference to me. But most importantly, I'm going to leave you with one last message. And that is reminding everyone here that you're all one decision away from a totally different life. We all have mental health, just like we have physical health. It's okay to go through those bad days, but please make sure you reach out, you be kind, you talk to someone, and you share how you're really feeling, because that is the only way we can end the stigma and discrimination when it comes to having mental health problems. Wherever you are in the world watching this video, you right now have the power to change someone's life by simply checking in on them, by asking them how they're feeling, by being there for them when they really mean it, but also by thinking twice before you ask someone or post that comment that may offend someone. It's these small, random things that will make the biggest difference in our generation, in our society, but also to the people's lives, the people who we surround ourselves with, and often the people who we determine on when we are going through a tough time ourselves. Because the fact is, we all go through tough times. That is life. But what really matters is how we react to it, how we act, what happens when we go through. And the thing is, coming back to fear and anxiety, whenever you're fearful or anxious of something, besides telling yourself, I can, I will, I must, stop asking yourself, why is this happening to me? And start asking yourself, what is this teaching me? The minute you make that switch from being anxious to fearful and all of these things to that growth mindset, you stop going through life and you start growing through it. And when you start growing through life, that's when we experience our best lives. That's when we start living to our full potential. And that's when we realise the power that you have inside of us. Because we all have one life. But it's up to you how you want to live it. It's up to you how you want to be remembered. And if I asked you a question right now to finish this talk, if someone came along tonight and picked up the story of you, and that story ended tonight, would you be fully satisfied with what you've left behind in that book? Or do you still want to write the best chapters of your life? And if the answer is that you want to write those best chapters, then it's only you can hold yourself back from achieving that best chapters, achieving the best of your life. But that comes down to you. So tell yourself 3 things. I can, I will, and I must. And go and do that thing you've always been scared of doing. Because what happens anyway? If you win, amazing, you're successful. If you're not, then you learn. It's impossible for you to lose. You've learned, you're not going to fail next time, and suddenly you start developing this self-confidence where you become undefeatable. And that's where the magic is. And I just want to say a massive thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed and taken something of value from this. Thank you again for the incredible opportunity to share my story with you on here virtually, and I hope this helped. If you want to find out more about me or my story, then you can do on social media. You can find me at Luke Rees UK. Or you can find me on my website at www.lukerees.co.uk. But I hope you have a great day, and I hope you are ready to do something today that your future self will thank you for.